So we'll okay. Sorry for inconvenience, guys. Last lecture we studied till thermodynamic equilibrium, right? So we studied that if all the three equilibrium condition is satisfied, then only a system can be in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, and if any one of these not satisfied, then change of state will occur till equilibrium state is reached. Okay, so we saw like the three thermodynamic equilibrium was the mechanical equilibrium, the thermal equilibrium, and the chemical equilibrium. And in this thermal chemical equilibrium, someone was having doubt that this in a reversible process at equilibrium, Gibbs energy should be zero. No, it should be minimum. Gibbs energy should be minimum. Okay, I cross checked that one. The change in Gibbs energy should be zero. Okay, so will be something like this. So here we'll have a minimum, like this will be the Gibbs energy in y-axis. Okay, will have a minimum Gibbs energy, or the change in Gibbs energy, like at the point of minima, maximum minima, we have zero. No change, the slope will be zero. So like that. So change in Gibbs energy will be zero. Okay. Now next we'll proceed to uh, next we will proceed to our this thing, that this point, that are the macroscopic coordinate defined for and significant to only thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, that means what this point means. It means that this thermodynamic properties, this we can only define when the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. See, you just pay attention on this point and the next point what I'm going to tell after this. Okay, just try to connect and just try to connect those 2 points. Thermodynamic equilibrium, sorry, thermodynamic property is significant only when the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. What it actually means is that if, let's say, I'm having a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, a piston cylinder arrangement, and if I want to this is my PV plot. Okay, let's say this is my PV plot, and if I want to show a point here, then I can show system is in equilibrium. This point says that I can show this point only when the system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. Obviously, because if this system will have the single value, the single pressure P or single volume V, that only I can indicate it here. No, if let's say locally somewhere here the pressure is something else, or there is not a like here, let's say within there is a pressure equilibrium, but here and outside the surrounding system and surrounding, they are not in equilibrium, there is a differential force. Okay, then I cannot show that thing here because the next moment that the value will change. Okay, so I cannot represent this state until and unless the system is in equilibrium. This point is clear to everyone? Okay, now next thing is, now the question comes. The second point what I want to put it here is, the question is now, since the properties describe the state of a system only when it is in equilibrium, the last point what I said, when it is in equilibrium, how can we describe the states of a system during a process if the actual process occurs only when equilibrium does not exist? The question is this. Did you understand the question? The question is like, all actual processes, whatever the actual processes are happening in the nature, they are not in equilibrium. Uh, what to define a state, the system should be in thermodynamic equilibrium, right? Yes, that only I told. To define a state, system is in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay. Now, what Nihal want to say? Did not understand the question. Okay, I'm just telling. I'm just repeating that one, or I'm just telling you in other way. Like the actual process, they are not in actually equilibrium. Like if I, what I'm telling here is, if I remove this load, if I suddenly remove this load, what will happen? If I suddenly remove this load, initially, let's say, initially, when I've applied this load at this particular scenario, it will be in equilibrium, let's say state point 2. It is in equilibrium, let's say state point 2. Okay. Next moment, when I remove this load, what will happen? The piston will rise suddenly. Okay, suddenly there will be a differential force, there will be imbalance of force, and this piston will rise, and it will go till top dead center. Okay, here it will go and stop. Here it will stop. And let's say after coming at this state, it is again coming in equilibrium. Now it also, let's say. But what happened in between? What happened in between? Can I show it here? Can I show in this graph? Can I show in this graph what happened in between? No. Why? Why? Because the system was not in equilibrium. And if system is not in equilibrium, then I cannot show that particular state in my graph. And if I am not able to show that state in my graph, then I will not know which path it has followed. Okay, I will not understand which path actually it has followed here. Okay, and then I cannot calculate, I will not know the behavior of the this thing, behavior of this system. If you know, or you all have already studied the thermodynamics, so you know the work done is given as integration p dv. Now this thing is path function. Anyway, you know, you should have a relation between pressure and volume. You should have a relation between pressure and volume. That relation only you put here and integrate. Now relation means what? You should be able to, when you will get a relation between pressure and volume, like if I want to calculate, let's say work is given as integration y dx. Okay. Okay. Manu is saying, so sir, that means we can't describe the process if it is only happen when it is not in equilibrium. Yes, if it is not in equilibrium, that only I'm explaining. If it is not in equilibrium, then I don't know what happened in between. So I will not know the relation between y and x. And if I'm not knowing the relation between y and x, I cannot calculate the work transfer here. Okay, I should know the relation, like x. Okay, let's say y equals to x. If I know y equals to x, I can put it here and I can integrate. That means y equals to x I can plot only if I know the different state points here, and then I can join that one. I will know the graph, and then I can put it in our work done equation. Okay, so that means now the question is, if the two things, if you try to understand, first and second. First thing, the equilibrium, the thermodynamic equilibrium, that tells you about the state, that tells you about the state. Okay, you will get different states, you will get the state. But now second thing, if the system will always be in equilibrium, will you get work transfer? If the system is in equilibrium, let's say it is in equilibrium here, it is in equilibrium at this location. Now to have this in equilibrium, it should not move, it should never move. Okay, the moment it is moving, it is not in equilibrium. Okay, then will not get work transfer, it will remain in this place only. Okay, so will not get work transfer. Then what to do? We want equilibrium points also, we want our equilibrium points also, this one also, and we want work transfer also. For work transfer, we need displacement, we need a small displacement, we need a displacement of this piston. Okay, we need this one. Okay, so from there the concept of quasi equilibrium process came. Means it is almost equilibrium. Quasi means what? It is almost equilibrium. Okay, means it will go through, you want one first. See, first thing is our thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, what this thing is telling you, it will tell you about the state points. Correct, it will tell you about the state points. Correct, like let's say this is state point. Okay, now it will remain here itself. If I want to maintain the equilibrium, if I want to maintain the equilibrium, it will remain here itself, it will not move. But I want work transfer. If I want, second thing is I want work transfer. For work transfer, this equilibrium will not help me, this displacement of piston is required, the displacement of piston is required. Okay, that means I don't want to do, I want a combination of this two, I want a combination of these two. So I want equilibrium points also, I want a displacement also. Okay, and that thing is fulfilled by my, from there only this thing has come up, this quasi equilibrium process. It will almost in equilibrium, it will displaced in a very small amount. Okay, it will go through a very small go through a very small displacement, such that equilibrium points I will get in between. And if I can join these points, I will get a curve, I will get a curve, and if I get this curve, I can calculate the work transfer. Okay, so that's why this quasi equilibrium process has come into the picture. If I remove this load, I can show state point 2, state point 1, but what happened in between I don't know. That's why the irreversible process we cannot plot in this thing. In PV plot we cannot show the irreversible process because you don't know what has happened in between. Okay, but topple process or quasi-static process, they will go through different equilibrium point. Now to get this equilibrium point, what we do, you must be knowing, in every book it is there, divide this load into n number of small parts. Okay, now you remove one small part, what will happen, it will displace by small amount, and it should be so small that the next equilibrium point you should achieve very quickly. Okay, and then again the next equilibrium point, again the next equilibrium point, and then you will reach to state point 1. Now if you know what has happened in between, okay, you know the state point, so you know what has happened in between, and now joining this points you will get a curve. Now if you know the curve, you can calculate integration pdv and you will get the displacement work done. And that's why you might be knowing that this integration can only be performed when the process is quasi-static or our reversible or quasi-static. Then only you understand why. Because if it is irreversible process, you will not have a relation between pressure and volume. Okay, so you cannot integrate this thing. Everyone got this point? Okay, then next we'll go to our quasi-static process. Okay, so what is this? From thermodynamic equilibrium is very small, and all the states the system passes through during a quasi-equilibrium process may be considered equilibrium states. Okay, why now why we actually doing this one, because why it is actually helping this quasi-static process, because many actual processes closely approach a quasi-equilibrium process. Okay, that's why it is that is also one more reason why this quasi equilibrium process is important for us. Okay, now this can be achieved on load. Okay, so now I can get a state points here, and I will join the points and I will get the curve. Okay, now here our quasi equilibrium process is completed. Okay, how is it important? It is important because this process will tell you the in between equilibrium points. It will tell you how to achieve, like how the process has gone from one state to other state. Other, if you are going through the not taking help of quasi static process, then what will happen? You will know the initial state, you will know the, if it is irreversible, it is a fast process or irreversible process. If you know the initial state, if you know the final state, okay, you will know these 2 points. But how will you join these two curve? I can join by any curve, any straight line, anything, n number of paths are there between these 2 points. So how will you know which path it has followed? Okay, to get the path we should take help of this quasi static. Now next we'll go ahead to zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay, now slowly we are going ahead to we have studied the basics, the definitions. Okay, now we'll go to zeroth law of thermodynamics, then we'll go ahead to our internal energy, work done, and work transfer and heat transfer. Okay, now zeroth law of thermodynamics, what it tells. Someone uh, please just switch to last slide. Okay, okay, now next is zeroth law of thermodynamics. So when a body, what it tells? It tells when a body B is in thermal equilibrium with another body A, and also separately in thermal equilibrium with body C, then body A and C will also be in thermal equilibrium with each other. We know this thing. Okay, we know this thing. Now we will understand this thing. What actually it tells is that if a body A I'm having, if I'm having a body A and I know the temperature of this body T. Okay, now I have one more body. I have one more body B. Okay, I have one more body B and I have one more body C. I have one more body C. Now I know the temperature of this body A. I know the temperature of this body A. Now I want to calculate the temperature of C. I actually want to calculate the temperature of C, and I know the temperature of this one. Now I have B, take help of this body. What I will do is I will try to have a contact between these two body. Okay, and if I found that they are in thermal equilibrium, now we know the definition of thermal equilibrium. What is thermal equilibrium? When the two bodies are at same temperature. Okay, now if these two bodies are at same temperature, okay, are in thermal equilibrium, then the temperature of body B will also be in that temperature, in thermal equilibrium. So temperature will be T only. Okay, now what I will do is, now I will separately make the contact of this two body. I will allow them to come in contact, B and C, not A now. Okay, now if I find that these two also are in thermal equilibrium, okay, then what I can say is the temperature of C is okay. Now if you notice here, I have not brought contact of this, I have not brought the A and C in contact here. Okay, without the contact I can tell that C is having temperature T with the help of zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay, so this tells that, that's why this word separately is important. Separately you will have to see this thing. Okay, you will have to see the thermal equilibrium. If they are in thermal equilibrium, then you can tell that this. Okay, so this tells us that those, so zeroth law of thermodynamics is helping you to measure the temperature. Okay, it is helping you to measure the temperature of some body. Okay, now this we'll see in next slide. We'll understand this thing in with one example also, the thermometer. Okay, there you will have better understanding, more understanding. Now the question, one more question is, temperature of wooden and metallic chair kept in a, why? First you tell me whether this question is correct. What I'm telling, temperature of wooden and metallic chair is different. Are they different? Are they different? No. Temperature of wooden and metallic chair are not different. Okay, they are same. But when we touch wooden chair and metallic chair, we feel that will feel that this metallic chair is cooler than wooden chair. The reason is the thermal conductivity. Okay, the reason is the thermal conductivity of that, like metallic chair, metal is having more thermal conductivity. It will allow, it will extract more heat from your body. Okay, that's why it you are feeling cooler in case of metal and compared to your wooden chair. Okay, now next we'll go to this thermometer. Okay, so how it actually works, you all might be knowing. We'll quickly go through this thing. Let's say I'm having a reference body. Okay, I'm having a reference body which is at 40 degree. I'm having a reference body which is at 40 degree, but you want to measure, we want to measure this 40 degree actually. Okay, it is at 40, you don't know, but you want to measure this 40 degree. So with the help of thermometer we are measuring here. Okay, of this liquid which is our mercury, and we are using mercury because at room temperature only two are there. One is mercury. Okay, two are at room temperature, they are in liquid. Two metals are there, one is this mercury. Okay, so we use this mercury here. So now what will happen, if we know, if we transfer heat, if we transfer heat to any substance, it expands. The exception is with water. Water actually behaves ulta in 0 to 4 degree. Okay, after that that also behaves in similar manner, that we'll see in properties of substance. Okay, so any substance, it actually expands when heat is being transferred to that body. Now at the temperature, the bulb of the thermometer is B, and the mercury the mercury is at the mercury is C, the third body. Now we have reading here. Okay, now what will happen the moment we have contact of this body A and the bulb, the heat will transfer. Now this heat will transfer from B to C. Now when heat will transfer from B to C, the mercury will expand. That because of that heat transfer, mercury will expand. Now as this is a cylindrical shape, it is as it is having a cylindrical is in vertical direction, in the length direction. It can go in length direction. Because of expansion, the volume will increase. It will travel in length direction. So it will travel and it will go and stop somewhere where it is reading 40 degrees centigrade. So we will know the temperature is 40 degree. After that, it will not means travel in this length direction. So why it is not traveling? Because the equilibrium has come. First, the equilibrium between A and C will come. The heat transfer will stop from B to C also. And so we know with the help of zeroth law of thermodynamics, if A and B are in thermal equilibrium and B and C are in thermal equilibrium, then C and A also will be in thermal equilibrium. We have not brought in contact of A and C. Mercury and our body, they are not in contact. But still that mercury is telling us the temperature. Okay, now here how we found the temperature? Because of the expansion of this traveled in length direction. So we characterized this length with different temperature. Okay, so we have a reference body. We have a reference body. Here we actually have to define a reference body. We want a reference body. Next, we want the characteristic property or the thermometric property of this particular this fluid. Okay, we need that one because that characteristic or the thermometric property only telling us the temperature. What is the thermometric property here? Which is telling us that length we have characterized in with this different temperatures. Okay, so this length is telling us the temperature of our body A. Okay, so we need a property of this. Here the thermometric property of body C is length. Okay, how does the mercury expanded over temperature? Didn't get your question. Like if I'm supplying heat here, it will expand, no? This mercury will increase. Now if its volume is increasing and as it is cylinder, it has to go in vertical direction only. Okay, now we have different kind of thermometer. Okay, so like we have a constant volume gas thermometer. Okay, in which the thermometric property is pressure. Okay, we have seen like mercury in glass thermometer. This is our that thermometer we have seen in last slide. Okay, here we have different thermometer. Okay, so constant volume gas thermometer, here the pressure is thermometric property. Constant pressure gas thermometer, here the volume is. Electrical resistance thermometer, here the resistance is our thermometric property. And in case of thermocouple, thermal EMF is the thermometric property. Okay, now here ends our zeroth law. Okay, zeroth law. We'll solve numerical our after work transfer. Here we'll start our energy part. Okay, when we'll complete our work transfer, then we'll solve numericals. Okay, and I will give you a practice paper also. Okay, you solve those numericals and then you can solve from any other book. I have taken that questions from PK Nag, unsolved question from PK Nag and Senjal both. Okay, so which are more like relevant to our gate, because like lengthy questions they cannot ask in gate, no. So I will give you those things, so just have patience. Till then you just have patience. Okay, work till work transfer. After that we'll solve numericals. Now next is, so nobody is having any doubt till now, no? No, first you solve question from that sheet. Okay, then questions from book is important. Some question you should solve. Okay, some question you should solve. From, and anyway, I'm taking those questions from book only. If you do not feel confidence, like first you solve question from the sheet. Okay, then you solve question of previous year gate, like 10 years, 12 years. I will give that also. 10 years, 12 years questions I will give you. Okay, previous year gate questions, and you solve those questions. If you are not getting confidence, if you are not able to solve those problems, okay, then only you solve some more problems from different books. Okay, otherwise you can, if you have confidence, if you get the concept properly, then you can go ahead, no problem. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
so in the previous slide you showed the mercury thermometer. It's having the thermometric property of length. So will you just
Yeah.
explain that? So how could the length become the thermometric property, sir?
Okay, see, we actually what we are doing here is, see, it will expand. Okay, so it will expand first. This thing is like, first it will have a reference body. First we'll have a reference body. Okay, and then let's say the triple point, this thermometer. Okay, we take this thermometer and this is the known reference body. We'll take in contact of this triple body, triple point of water. Okay, and we know the temperature, and then we'll measure up to what height it has gone, at what height it is there. Let's say it will be somewhere here, let's say it will be somewhere here. So we know the temperature, this temperature, so it will indicate this particular temperature, let's say 0.01 degree centigrade, this temperature. Okay, steam point, steam temperature, we know that 100 degree centigrade. We'll take that in contact of that steam, so we'll know that 100 degree centigrade, and we'll know it will expand till there. After that it won't expand, the heat transfer will be zero. Okay, so it will come in thermal equilibrium, so we know that particular point. Now we calibrated this length between these 2 points. Okay, we can calibrate between these 2 points, and earlier it was ice point, earlier actually it was ice point and steam point of water actually. Okay, so with that we calibrated here. So different height, different height is telling you different temperature. That's why that length is actually, the length is telling you the this length of this mercury is telling you the temperature. That's why the characteristic length, actually what is changing we have to see. What characteristic property or the thermometric property means, actually what is changing here in this particular thing when the heat transfer is changing. Change is the height or the length of the mercury in this tube. So that is our thermometric property. Now we'll have to calibrate that length with this temperature. Okay, that's why this length has become our thermometric property. Okay, is it okay to you? Similarly, in constant volume, here pressure will be changing. In constant volume, no, pressure will be changing in this constant volume thermometer. So that pressure has become our thermometric property. Similarly, in constant pressure, volume will be changing. So volume has become our thermometric property. Okay. Now here, now from here, we know the definition in a simple way we know it is a relation between heat transfer, work transfer, and the total energy or the energy stored, we know. Okay, the total energy or energy store, okay, in a system. So it is a basically relation between heat transfer, work transfer, and the property. Okay, so one by one, first we'll understand these energies. Okay, we'll understand first this energy E, then we'll understand this work transfer, heat transfer in thermodynamics. Okay, and then we'll go to first law of thermodynamics. Okay, then only we can study first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so let's first understand what is this E, the total energy. Okay, so for that, different forms of energy, different forms of energy. So we divide this different forms of energy. See, it may be look little bit messy to you in single slide, so that's why I have kept it here. Okay, so just pay attention where the marker is going. So different forms of energy, it can be divided into two parts: energy in storage, and the second part is energy in transit. Okay, energy in storage, energy in transit. Now first we'll finish this energy in transit. What is energy in transit? It means it will transfer from system to surrounding. This two energy, what all these two energies? These energies are heat transfer and work transfer. We'll see this heat transfer, work transfer in detail later class, and we'll understand why they are inexact differential, why they are path function, why they are they are transferring, they are not storing. All those things we'll see. Okay, now just an introduction. So energy in transit means it will transfer, it will cross. Let's say this is my boundary, this is my system, and let's say if there is a heat transfer, heat is going from surrounding, this is my surrounding and this is my system. Now if system heat is going from surrounding to system, okay, so it is crossing the boundary, so that's why we call it transfer, heat transfer. Okay, the transfer word has come. Similarly, if it is giving some work, so the system will do work on the surrounding, or surrounding will do some work on the system. So again that work is being transferred from the system to surrounding, or surrounding to the system. Okay, so that's why we call it heat transfer or work transfer. Okay, now these two we'll see in detail in later lectures. Okay, first we'll see the energy in stored part. Okay, this is also called as energy content in a mass, any fluid, like in our fluid mechanics we generally deal with incompressible fluid also. Okay, so any fluid means incompressible, compressible, both. Okay, like gas, liquid, both. So any fluid have mass, that mass will contain energy, that mass will contain energy. Okay, and that energy we call as total energy E. It will have some energy. Okay, and that energy we call as total energy E. Okay, so let's say in this we have some gas. Okay, these are the molecules of the gas, these are the molecules of the gas. So these so this gas will have energy, some energy, because it is having mass. So that mass will contain energy, that energy we call as total energy. Okay, total energy is stored in a mass. Now we'll further divide this into two parts. What is that? First is microscopic energy and other is macroscopic energy. Okay, microscopic energy and macroscopic energy. Now we'll try to understand these two. Microscopic energy refers to the energy stored in the molecular and atomic structure of the system. Like if we have two molecules, these two molecules, okay, so the energy is stored in this molecular structure of the system, the energy stored in the molecular structure of this system, like in their bond, in molecular bond, in atomic bond, in molecular in the molecular forces between the two molecular forces, the energy which is joining these two molecules, or they are or the energy which is, so that there is an energy associated with the two molecules, energy associated between two atoms. Okay, so all so basically it is energy associated with the molecular and atomic structure of the system. Okay, that we call as microscopic energy. Okay, now next is our this energy only, energy only we call as internal energy of the system. Okay, internal energy of the system. Now next, this is further classified as kinetic energy of molecules, potential energy of molecules. Okay, vibrational energy, electronic energy, chemical energy, nuclear energy. Okay, so let's say I am having a molecule here, and this molecule is having individual molecule is having velocity v. Okay, individual molecule is having velocity v. In kinetic theory of gases we have seen, so individual molecule is having velocity v. So if having, so kinetic energy of molecule. Now similarly, like two molecules are far away, so the energy required to bring closer to these two molecules. Okay, so they have potential energy of molecule. Okay, similarly we have vibrational energy. Okay, we have electronic energy, chemical energy, like if this is a air fuel ratio mixture, air fuel mixture. Okay, so this is a chemical, so this chemical will contain some energy, so it is a chemical energy also. Okay, inside this internal energy the chemical energy also comes. Now the nuclear energy, the energy stored in the nucleus. Okay, nuclear part, so it is having nuclear energy also. So all these energies come under internal energy part, all these energies come under internal energy part. Okay, now, and which is what the microscopic energy, the energy in molecules. Okay, now next comes is the macroscopic energy. Macroscopic energy, macroscopic energy includes kinetic energy and potential energy of system with respect to some reference frame. Now you see the difference. Here also kinetic energy and potential energy. Here also kinetic energy and potential energy. But what is the difference? Difference is here the kinetic energy of molecule, and here kinetic energy of system. Here you see kinetic energy of system. Now what is this kinetic energy of system? See, if this full this air, if I consider this full air as a system, this is my system. Now this system will have one unique value of velocity. Individually a molecule can have a velocity, individually molecule can have a velocity, with that it will strike the wall. Okay, and because of that individual velocity v, it is having kinetic energy of molecule. But what is this kinetic energy of system? Let's say this full gas is my system, and from reference, let's say from some reference, this is my ground, and this is at some z height from the ground. Now if I drop this, if I drop this box, what will happen? Initially it will have a potential energy. From this, it is energy defined with respect to some reference frame, but this energy is not defined with respect to reference frame. This is the energy of individual molecule, but this thing is the energy defined with respect to kinetic energy or potential energy defined with respect to reference frame. Now let's say this is my reference frame, and this box is at some height h, so it is having some potential energy. Now the moment it is falling, what you will say? What will be the velocity of this one? It will have some velocity v. You will not see the individual velocity of the molecule. You will see now in a macroscopic point of view. If you remember the macroscopic approach and microscopic approach, okay, in macroscopic approach we see the full system as a whole, as a single thing, okay, and okay, will not bother about the individual velocity of the this system of the molecules. Okay, so now do you have understanding of this thing, microscopic energy and macroscopic energy? Okay, now next, what is this total energy? What is this total energy? It is summation of microscopic energy and it is summation of these two. So E is macroscopic energy plus microscopic energy. Okay, now I can write the macroscopic energy is kinetic energy and potential energy of system with respect to some reference frame. Okay, okay, now the microscopic energy also I can write like this thing, summation of kinetic energy, potential energy, vibrational energy, all those energy of the molecule. Okay, so and we call internal energy. Okay, this is the internal energy. So E is what? E, the total energy is U plus kinetic energy of system. U is the internal energy of molecules, stored in the molecules, and U plus kinetic energy of system plus potential energy of system. Now you have understanding of this E, the total energy E. Okay, next we'll see further, we'll see about the internal energy. Okay, see these things will, many of you might be knowing, you might have already studied these things, but some of you may have doubt. Okay, so I have to cover all these things. So and understanding of all these things is required before solving problem. Okay, because they can like twist anytime. Like I've told you in the last class only, this example I have already taken in the last class, but let's take it again. Like if I am having, okay, and it contains fuel, it is having fuel, some fuel. Okay, now it contains some fuel. Now if I have a arrangement of small spark here, I am having a arrangement of small spark here. Okay, small spark here, and this box is insulated. This box is insulated. Now the moment I put this spark, if I have this spark, what will be the change in internal energy? What will be the change in internal energy of the system? Insulated means it will heat transfer to the surrounding is zero. That I will anyway, I will tell you, means you know this. Insulated means heat transfer to the surrounding is zero. So here the change in internal energy will be zero. Why so? Because the fuel is having energy which is chemical energy. Fuel is having energy which is a chemical energy. The moment spark has been produced, it will convert into either of these energies: kinetic energy, potential energy, vibrational energy, other energies. Okay, it will convert into these energies only. Okay, so but all these energies come under internal energy only. So one form has converted into other form, but in change in internal energy is zero. The change in internal energy is zero here. Okay, now next is, we'll further see the internal energy thing. The portion of internal energy of a system associated with kinetic energy of the molecule. The portion of internal energy of a system associated with the kinetic energies of the molecule is called the sensible energy. Further, we'll study about internal energy. In that, the energy associated with the kinetic energy, we call it as sensible energy, because when velocity is related to your temperature. From KTG we know, okay, if temperature is increasing, the velocity will increase, and in return we can say the kinetic energy is increasing. So the temperature and kinetic energy is related. Okay, so that's why this kinetic energy of molecule is called the sensible energy. Okay, now next is the average velocity and degree of activity of molecules are proportional to temperature of the gas. Therefore, at higher temperature, the molecule possesses higher kinetic energy, and as a result, a system has higher internal energy. Like, uh, if I take solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, now this is my solid, liquid, and gas. If I supply heat here, what will happen? If I supply sufficient about amount of heat such that it can convert into liquid, then what will happen? Here liquid will have some internal energy UL. It will have internal energy US. Now if I further supply heat, it will convert into gas, and it will have internal energy G. Okay, so if I relate US, UL, and UG, which will have higher internal energy? Which will have higher internal energy? This one, gas, because the internal energy has come because of adding of these heats only, the heat transfer only, and that has been stored in our this all these things, these molecules only. So its temperature has increased. Now obviously the temperature will increase from solid to gas. So temperature will increase. Now temperature is increasing, the kinetic energy will increase, and hence it will have higher internal energy. Okay, now next is, if if sufficient energy is added to molecules of a solid or liquid, the molecules overcome the molecular forces and break away, turning the substance into gas. This is called phase change process. Now, what is phase change process? When we are supplying energy and it is not increasing the temperature, rather it is breaking the bond between molecules, okay, and converting the phase. Okay, and when there is a phase change, there is no change of temperature. Okay, then but we have supplied heat. That particular heat or that particular internal energy we call as latent energy. Okay, so in latent energy case, we will not have temperature increase, it will just change the phase, and in sensible case it will not change the phase, rather it will increase the temperature of the system. Okay, now next is the kinetic energy of an object is an organized form of energy. Kinetic energy of an object, this is very important thing. Kinetic energy of an object is an organized form of energy associated molecules in one direction in a straight path or around an axis, while the kinetic energy of molecules, see, this is kinetic energy of object or a system, kinetic energy of object or a system, that is organized form of energy, but the kinetic energy of a molecule are completely random and highly disorganized. Okay, now we'll try to understand this with one example. If I'm having a fan, this is a box, it contains gas. Okay, it contains gas, and it is totally closed. Here also it is totally closed. Now if I put fan here, and now if I supply heat, whether this fan will rotate? Okay, then you can try this thing. Like, if you have like if you this let us consider a box here, this is your home only. Okay, and you have a fan here. Okay, and in a, like, if outside temperature has increased suddenly and if the heat is transferring from outside here, will this fan will start rotating or automatically? It may. Actually it will not rotate, and if it is rotating also, it will just move little a bit. Okay, why so? The molecules which it may happen, the molecule which are coming and hitting from this direction, it may happen from other direction also, the molecules are hitting. Okay, so it will not be able to rotate here actually properly. Okay, now next now if I, or if I further increase the heat transfer, whether I can increase here. Okay, no, we cannot increase in this particular case. Now next, if I put a hole here, and if I put a nozzle here, if I put a nozzle here, okay, and if I put that fan here, if I put that fan here, now will it rotate? Nah, yeah, in this particular case it is rotating. Okay, so what has changed here? What has changed here? What if heat is coming from only one direction? Compare this one and this one, which will rotate faster? Anyway, I'm considering heat transfer. If it is transferring heat from one direction only, which will case will have more transfer, more rotation. This one only, second one. Now, what has happened here? Here, the molecules are in random fashion. Here, the molecules are in random fashion. The kinetic energy of molecules, the kinetic of molecules are in random fashion, or they are in disorganized way. So we call this as disorganized energy. What is this kinetic energy of molecule? Kinetic energy of molecule, the internal energy part. This is the internal energy part only. Okay, so kinetic energy of molecule, the energy. It will not help you in giving the work transfer, desired work transfer. But if I am organizing these molecules in some manner, let's say if I am organizing this molecule to follow this path, then it will help us in rotating this one. Okay, so this particular thing is, now this has become the kinetic energy of object, or let's say if this is rotating here, if this thing is rotating here, object. So now organize that energy. Okay, so the motion is orderly motion. So kinetic energy of order of object, or kinetic energy of system, is organized energy. Okay, that is helpful. Like, once I have rotated this fan with the help of this energy, now I can use this fan, or if I put a shaft here, let's say if I put a shaft here, I can use this energy further, like lifting a mass. I can lift a mass. I can energy further. Okay, so this is the energy of system. Now again, this is the energy of system. So energy, the kinetic energy of system is organized energy, and it will help you in it help you in conversion of energy, and it is more helpful than the kinetic energy of molecules, or the disorganized energy. Now, why I'm telling it is this is the orderly energy? Why I'm telling this is the orderly energy? Because if I talk about these molecules, they are in orderly way rotating. They are rotating in an orderly way about this center. Okay, so this is also the energy. This energy is also a orderly energy. Okay, can I say second position fan is acting as a turbine? Turbine, yes, like a kind of a small turbine where the air is coming and hitting here, so that's why it is rotating, and with that you can use energy further for other use, like turbine energy is used for generating electricity, so it is correct. Okay, now what actually happening here, if I zoom this particular thing here, what is happening here is, see, individual molecule may have some velocity v, individual molecule may have some velocity v, the disorder energy, but they all are as a system they are moving with velocity capital V. So this individually may they have some velocity v, but as a system they are flowing with velocity v, and that's why that v velocity, the velocity of system, is useful for us. Okay, so kinetic energy of system is orderly energy or organized energy, and it will is help us in conversion of energy. Okay, and it is useful. But kinetic energy of molecules, they are disorganized energy and they are not useful to us. Okay, so this point is clear to everyone. Are you getting bored with theory? Okay, Laksh is getting bored, I think. S, he has written for previous question also, he has written yes. Here also S. So S is what? Yes only I will consider. Okay, anyway, we'll have to read all these things. Okay, so let's move to work transfer then. Okay, getting it like this is boring. Okay, so anyway, I need like 2 minutes gap. That's why I'm talking with you. Like anything else you want to ask? Anyone? You didn't get kinetic energy of molecule. If individual molecule is having velocity, then it will have kinetic energy. Then you didn't get the kinetic theory of gases. If we take the molecules to be a continuum, then we can produce useful energy. So it is continuum only. When it was acting as a system, that was continuum only. As whatever we are studying here will apply our continuum approach. It will not be like a for like molecules. So we are producing energy if we organize that one. If it is an organized form of energy. Okay, let's start the work transfer part. Okay, it is you'll application only. Very few question in thermodynamics from directly from this application part. Now, after knowing this thing, don't leave the meeting. Like it is not important. We should leave the meeting. Then it's not like that. Okay, then let's start with work transfer. Okay, we understood the total energy E. We have to study Q, we have to study work, and then the total energy E. Then this we have already studied. We already know about this. Next we'll study about work transfer. Okay, so work is energy transfer associated with a force acting through a distance. This definition is given, it is coming from the mechanics. Okay, in mechanics we know if there is a object, okay, and we have if we apply a force F here, if we apply a force F here, and if it displays with with some length L, or displacement is L, then work is force multiplied by the displacement if the displacement is in same direction of force. Okay, now if for small displacement we can write it as FDL and then integration of that. Okay, so this is the definition of work transfer from mechanics. Now this the same equation will get by the definition of thermodynamics. In thermodynamics, what actually how this work transfer is defined, that uh, if I use any energy to lift a body, to lift a mass, okay, then lift a mass by some distance L, then the work transfer is given by that force multiplied by the L. Like if I'm having a battery, let's say I'm having a battery here, okay, if I supply this energy to, if I supply this motor, and if I'm supplying this energy, okay, and if I'm able to lift this mass by a distance L, okay, then I can say the this energy, the electrical energy, this energy is what is flowing is the electrical energy. This electrical energy I will call it as work transfer. Okay, I will call it as work transfer. This is one way of understanding why been defined in a different way in our thermodynamics. Okay, but the equation will get as same only, because when we are lifting a mass, it will have, let's say, some tension here, in this direction a tension, and that tension multiplied by the displacement. Okay, so for a small displacement dl, again this tension multiplied by dl, and from dl, sorry, tension multiplied by dl, and then integration from initial state to final state. So this is where was the work transfer. So basic definition is this only. Work transfer is integration force multiplied by displacement. Okay, now next what we have to study is, in work transfer there are different types of work transfer between system and surrounding. Work transfer, this is work transfer, and transfer will be from system to surrounding or surrounding to system always. Okay, now work transfer can be mechanical work. Now this mechanical work can be divided into PDV or displacement work, shaft work, paddle wheel work or steering work, or this flow work, work done in stretching of a liquid film, spring work. Okay, now non-mechanical work is the electrical work or magnetic work. Okay, now all these works will be studying one by one. Okay, one by one we'll study all these works. Okay, now before first we'll start with our this displacement work. Okay, before that we'll see this thing quickly. We'll see the unit of work is joule. Okay, 1 Newton meter, you know this thing. And power, unit of power, so unit of power should be joule per second, so it is watt. So we know this thing. So let's quickly move to this thing, PDV work or displacement work. Okay, now what is this displacement work? In our, see, work transfer is integration force multiplied by displacement only, force multiplied by displacement only. Now but in like let's say we are having this piston. This piston moves because of a force exerted. Let's say if it moves in this direction, in upward direction, under the influence of force, the force which is exerted by this system. This is my system, the gas is my system, and piston and this weight is my surrounding. Now the system is doing work on this one, okay, this piston. Now it will exert a force. Where from that force will come? Where from the force will come? Of the gas. Okay, so let's say it is having some pressure P at this particular instant. Pressure P at this particular instant. Okay, now the force I can define, the force, the total force on the piston, the total force on the piston I can define as pressure force equals to pressure multiplied by area. Area is this, area of this piston. Area of this piston is the force. Okay, is the force. Now next is work. From the definition, it is integration force. Let's say if this piston has moved here, if this piston has moved here, okay, for let's say a small displacement dl, a displacement is dl here. Okay, so the work I can write is, work is what, force multiplied by displacement, a small amount of work, force multiplied by displacement. Now this force has come because of that pressure, so I can rewrite that force equals to pressure multiplied by area. So I will write pressure multiplied by area, then dl. Okay, now if I see this particular thing, a into dl, so a into dl is what? Area will give us this volume actually. It will give us this volume actually, the small volume. So I can write ADL equals to dV. Okay, ADL equals to dV. So the small amount of work is given as PdV. Small amount of work for dV displacement. So we have a relation for work transfer in terms of pressure and volume, because we usually have a process defined in terms of pressure and volume. So we have converted our force and displacement in terms of pressure and volume. Okay, so now the equation for work transfer is PdV. This is small work. Now the total work done at the moving boundary during the given quasi-equilibrium process can be given as integration of this thing from one state to final state. Okay, it will be integration PdV. Now the most important point here, this is my final equation for displacement work, not all work transfer what we have seen in our last slide. Okay, this we are studying displacement work or PdV work. So this equation is displacement work transfer. Now this integration can be performed only if we know the relationship between P and V. Thus cannot integrate right now. Integration dx I can write like 1 to 2, I can write x2 minus x1. Okay, you all might be knowing all these things, but few students actually face problem. That's why I'm telling these things. Okay, so integration dx is actually x2 minus x1, but can I integrate this y dx? Integration y dx, you cannot integrate this one until and unless, because differential is of x and this is great. You have to have a relation between y and x. Okay, so if I write y equals to x square, then you can replace it here and x square and integrate this one. So this one you can integrate, but this one you cannot integrate. So if you compare this integral and this integral, okay, it is similar kind, just a variable replacement. Okay, so you have to have a relation between pressure and volume, then only you can integrate that to a process. If the process is quasi-static process, if the process is quasi-static process, okay, then only you can integrate it. Is it not? Why so? You understand now, I think, why it should be a quasi-static process, quasi-static or reversible process. If it is irreversible, can we integrate this one? No. So irreversible process, you will not get, you will get initial point, let's say you will get final point, but in between what has happened you don't know. So you will not know the relation between pressure and volume. Okay, so to get a relation between pressure and volume, you should know the in between intermediate points, different points, so that you can join and get the curve, or you will get the pressure and volume relation. Once you know the pressure volume relation, you can integrate this one. Okay, so this is the reason. If P is constant, so that is a special case. Okay, that is a special case. If P is constant, that also will see pressure is constant, but how you will know? 1 point here, if I had 1 point here, I can join it like this also. Okay, I can join it like this also. So you should have a intermediate points. Okay, now next is, now let's quickly go through graph also. Okay, it will already know. 2 minutes we'll go through this one. Like straight line, if we have a straight line, like y equals to mx plus c, we know we can plot it like this. So simply replace p and y. If I have a relation between pressure and volume like this, p equals to mv plus p naught, like this, a relation. Okay, then means graph question also comes na in examination. So how to plot a graph? You just compare this thing with your straight line. This is a straight line graph, so it will be like this only, straight graph. Now like it depends upon the slope. It can be like this, it can be like this, it can go from here, it depends. Okay, it depends. So but to understand whether it will be straight line or parabola, hyperbola, the known equations. Okay, now next is the constant pressure. Constant pressure will be horizontal line. Okay, and its slope will be zero. Its slope will be zero. Now the constant volume line, it will be a vertical line, and its slope will be infinite. This question was also asked in match the column. Constant pressure, constant volume, what will be the slope? So the for constant volume line, it will be a vertical line, and vertical line has a slope equals to infinite. Okay, now there is one more process which is a hyperbolic process. We'll see. Okay, so it will be a if which is xy equals to constant, we can represent it like this in xy coordinate. So if I compare pv equals to constant like this only, so in pv plot I will have a similar graph like this. So this represents a hyperbolic process, or in other way for ideal gas it represents isothermal process also. Okay, so in pv plot we'll have we can show like this. But if I talk about TS plot, let's say if I talk about TS plot, can we show like this only? PV equals to constant graph. Can we show PV equals to constant graph like this only in TS? No. Here I should have a relation between, see, if I am plotting T and S, I should have relation for that temperature and entropy. Okay, so PV equals to C will not help. Actually, for ideal gas equation, it is T equals to constant. So this PV equals to constant. So T equals to constant means isothermal process. So in TS plot, it will become horizontal line. It will become horizontal line. Okay, so see, these things are small, these very small things, but means like 90% of you might be knowing this thing, but few of you may not know. So for them I'm telling all these things. Okay, now next thing we'll see area under curve. Area under curve. Why we are studying this thing? Why we are studying this thing? Because see, this integration, this value of work done can be calculated with the help of integration, or if we know the relation between P and V. And there is one more method. is a graphical method. So with the help of graphical method also we can calculate the work transfer. So first we'll see what is area under curve, and then we'll see the graphical method, and then we'll see the integration method. We have two methods, integration method and graphical method. Okay, so first we'll see the graphical method. Okay, so in graphical method first we'll see what is area under curve. So let's say I'm having that same straight line like this. Okay, so area under curve will be, if I project area under curve will be what? Area under curve will be what? Integration. Okay. Integration y dx represents area under curve. Now this y is what? The curve. This curve. And if I project it to x-axis, till x-axis, then the area bounded by these things, this area is will be this a, integration y dx. So integration y dx will be this area only. So if somehow I can calculate this area, I will know the work transfer for this particular process. If I project it to some this one x-axis, and now if I calculate this area will give us the work transfer. Okay, why? If you see, let's say a small example, integration y dx. Okay, now what is this? Is y equals to constant graph. Let's take a small strip dx. Let's take a small strip dx, and now this height will be what? Y only. Y constant. So I will put it here, integration c dx, because y equals to constant. Now here y equals to constant. So c integration of dx is x2 minus x1. Now again I will put this c equals to capital Y only. Y x2 minus x1. So with integration I got this value, and area also is getting that same value, is giving that same value. So this integration y dx it only. Okay, so now if I talk about constant volume process or vertical line, if I project it to x-axis here, this point, what will be the area of this point? 0. Area of this point is 0. So work transfer in vertical process, vertical graph for a constant volume process is 0. So all these things we'll see in next slide also, integration also. So area for constant volume process is 0. Now area for rectangular hyperbola. Okay, so it will be integration y dx only. Okay, now you know the relation for this particular case. So we know xy equals to constant. You replace y in terms of x. Okay, you integrate it, you will get this value. Now this value is representing this area only. This is area under curve. Okay, now if you know these things, anyone is having any doubt? Anyone is having any doubt? Now one more mathematics we'll have to understand. The last one, what is exact and inexact differential, and path and point function. Okay, that we'll have to understand. One last mathematical thing. Okay, so if I integrate dx, integration dx, if I perform integration dx between these 2 points, state point 1 to state point 2. Okay, between state point 1 to state point 2, if I integrate this one, what I will get? I will get x2 minus x1 only. Okay, simply I can write difference between final minus initial. Okay, and it doesn't matter which path I am actually following. It doesn't matter, you follow any path, but the value of integration dx will be x2 minus x1 only. Okay, if this is the case, this is called as exact differential. This is called as exact differential. Okay, and this we call as point function, because you are simply writing the result between different as a difference between 2 points only. final point minus initial point, simple. So that's why we call as what all exact differential are there, we call them as point function, point function. Okay, now next if I say what is integration y dx, can I write it as y2 x2 minus y1 x1, like how I have done here? Can I write like this? No. Here I need a relation between y and x. I need a relation between y and x. So if I need a relation between y and x, I can have a different relation, like y equals to x also, y equals to x square also. Okay, y equals to x to power 3, any relation I can have. So that different relation is telling us what? The different graph, different graph. Okay, and if it is showing different graph, that means this integration can only be performed if I know the relation between y and x. That means it is path dependent, and I cannot simply write final point minus initial point. So it is a path dependent, and it is inexact differential. Okay, it is inexact differential and it is a path. So you have understanding of this basic mathematics required here. Okay.
Sir, but for one like one case, there will be only one relation between y and x, no, sir.
Which one? Which case?
Consider a particular case, we'll have only one relation for y and x, no, sir. Say y is equal to x.
Yeah, that's what. Like for one case. But what I am telling you here is in three different graphs. Like if I am having these two graphs, okay, A and B. Okay, for these two different graphs, I will have different result for this integration. Okay, for this two different case, I will have different result for this one. Okay, but for this one, will it be different for these two different graphs?
No.
No,
No,
na.
sir.
So no. So I am comparing these two actually.
Okay.
For two different graphs, if I calculate this thing, I will get x2 minus x1 only every time. It doesn't matter which path it is following. Okay, from which path I have followed and gone from state point 1 to 2. But I calculate relation. So this integral is depending upon the path, so it is a path function and it is inexact differential. What the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next is, so again we'll see one more example. It is very interesting example. Okay, so you all know work transfer is path function. So flow work, that is also a work. Is it a path function? It is a path function. Flow work is a path also. Okay, some of you don't know the flow work means. I asked because some of you actually might be knowing about flow work. Okay, so flow work is not a path function. We'll see first. I will tell you what is flow work. Okay, and then I will means there all you will understand what is this flow work and why it is not a path function. We'll see that one first. We'll see that one mathematically. Okay, so let's say here, if you see here, integration y dx plus x dy, integration of y dx plus x dy, can I write this thing as differential of xy? Can I write this thing as integration of dx differential of xy? Okay, now integration of this thing I can write like this. Now integration of this thing, I can write x2 y2 minus x1 y1. Yes, so this is my exact differential. This is my exact differential. Okay, so y dx plus x dy is exact differential. Is exact differential. So this is a exact differential and this is a point function. Now why I have taken this example? If I write p and p in place of y and v in place of x, so p integration p dv plus v dp. Can I write differential of pv? I can write like this. Now I can write this thing as p2 v2 minus p1 v1. So same thing. Now pv is what? Pressure into volume. This is what? Flow work. This is flow work. Okay. Now what is flow work? I will tell you. In coming lectures, I will tell you in detail what is flow work. But this PV represents flow work. Okay. So this is not a path function. It is a point function. So flow work is a point function. And this flow work is internal energy plus this flow work only. HU plus PV. That PV is flow work. Okay. That flow. Here from here also, if U is internal energy, that is point function. Okay. PV is, now we know it is a point function. So if these two are point function, H is also a point function only. Now these things are U is point function, that I will show you in later classes. Okay. So these basics method, and to know whether it is exact or inexact, like many times gate have asked, work is exact differential or inexact differential, a path function or means point function, or which property, or these things are path function, point function, like that they have asked these questions. So that's why I have considered this particular example here. So anyone is having any doubt? Anyone is having any doubt here? Okay, so time is over. I think time is over. We lost half an hour actually. See, actually, I am having 6 lectures to complete till this entropy. Till entropy, I have to complete it in 6 lectures. That only that many. I will, in between somewhere I will have to move fast also. Okay, so now we'll have to start graphical methods. So okay, yeah, I will ask some extra class also, because if does not if it does not complete our syllabus, I will do. Yes, tell me a little thing. Yeah, see, what you can do is read all these things, this content. Okay, then you go through the video lecture again. You go through the video lecture, and if you still have any doubt, you can ask me. No problem. Okay, you can again ask me. No problem. Anyone is having any doubt? Saturday we don't have thing. On Sunday we have thermodynamics. Okay, then thank you everyone and good night. From next class, we'll start from this graphical solution and we'll do numericals in next class. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Sunday, can we start by 9 to Dinesh sir? I will ask if he permits, then we can start. Till gate exam, forget about sleep. Till gate exam, you will have these. Those are only the days when you have to read more. I think, at least for those who are working. Guys, do your best. I'm telling you. The only like do your best. Like when I was working, then also I was preparing. So when I used to go to office 9 o'clock in the morning, came back uh, evening 6 o'clock. Then I used to take 1 hour rest, and then straight away I do not allow my mind to overcome my this thing. Yeah, recording is done. Don't worry, recording is done. So you will have to fight with your mind. I'm telling you. You is that mind your आपका जो मन है ना वही सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन है. वो पढ़ने नहीं देगा. And you will have to fight against him. Okay. Or only 6-7 months of time, guys. 6-7 months. 6-7 महीने में ही जो करना है अभी. ठीक है. So do your best. After that, again it will be like 1 year. Again 1 year. Okay, then I am. Yes, good night. Good night. Thank you, sir. So we'll